All right, welcome back, Pokemon Go players, to another episode of the Purified podcast. Today is June 6th, 2021. I am your host, Luis Palacios, with my co-host, Chris.
Hey, it's your boy, Pokemon Trigger, please. How you doing, Pure Lighter?
Tired as hell, dude.
It was a heck of a day.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Also, can anybody please give me a oh yeah? Dude, today has been the most insane Pokemon Go adventure we have had in a long time. Not comparing, of course, a lot of the Go Fests we've gone to and a lot of the things that we've done in the past. But today was just something that we desperately needed as a community in Pokemon Go, for sure. But yeah, it was insane, right, Chris? Just a lot of that. Thank you also for the subscription there at Tier 1. Appreciate it.
For sure. For sure, this community day is one of the ones that a lot of people have been looking forward to for a year at least.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it was planned sometime last year, but it was not the time for it. Today was really that time for it. It was perfect time to release something like this in a long time, even if the shiny was already released a while back before we even thought about it. So still, it was something to be proud of. We were definitely going to be talking about that. Let's once again actually remind everybody that we are here to talk about Pokemon Go's news, updates, and ranting about the game because we love the game just as much as you do. And don't forget to remind everybody that we are part of the Professor Network, and that is not the right click. Okay. There it is. Please check us out at Professor at Purified Podcast if you remember to go to that website. That'd be great. I don't know why it did that. I'm surprised. Why did it do that? I don't understand. Everything was fine until then.
In a Matrix.
I'm in the Matrix. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, let's talk about some recaps for the week because everything that we have done, it's all about what happened today. But let's also recap what we got last week and everything. So before we go into the shinies and hundos, because trust me, it's something to talk about. Let's go ahead and recap Community Day for the first time before we go into that. So, okay. First and foremost, Chris, what did you do at the beginning of the Community Day, and how did you spend Community Day?
I started it in a restaurant, just finishing up lunch. But dude, the spawns are coming, but it's still always surprising to see 10 Gimbals show up next to you.
Oh, no.
Is the funniest thing because this whole year they've just been insane. You see them on the radar, you drop everything and go and catch them, and then you just see them surrounding you today. So it was definitely a really cool experience. I already had a hundo going into it, so I wasn't too stressed out. But I told you I wanted to get another hundo because I think Great League Gibble is freaking hilarious to run. It's just got that body slam spam, and it's so funny.
It is interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Other than the hundo I already had, I was only able to get a 15, 15, 14. But I was able to get 39 shinies today, so I was fairly happy. I got a rank 1 shiny, a 0, 15, 15, another 0, 0, a 0, 15, 15, but I left that one alone, I think. Because if you have the shiny, why even do the other one?
Shinies do more damage, so yes.
But, exactly. I got a decent one for Ultra League, like a rank 25 or 14 or something.
Nice.
I evolved 2 of those, and I think I had a bunch of 96s that I evolved just for raids. But yeah, it was a pretty fun one. Definitely got my son. If you aren't watching the video, I'm super burnt. I got aloe. I'll be safe.
Yeah, that is for sure. Oh my goodness. We wanted to hang out for a while during Community Day, so yeah, we did meet up almost in the same place. Luckily, because it is the tier 1 place.
Best place.
Almost the best place to play Community Days and events because the spawns are just all over the place. And There's one few things that, of course, they didn't mention at the end or closer to the end of this week about Community Day. Mm-hmm. One thing that they confirmed that 3-hour lures were going to happen. Well, that was not something of the bonus that we didn't know by the time Community Day came about. And they literally told us like 2 days before the event even started. So we knew going into it that we were going to be crazy. Plus 3-hour incest, 3 hours lures, 3 times cash stardust. 3 times cash experience. And all of those was just insane. Anyway, so I started the day. I go to the grind session. I go a little bit early just to make sure I got parking spot. It was still a busy day for the area that we were. But still, I was able to get there on time, ready to go. Texting everybody, say, hey, we're ready to go. I'm already here. Place looking good. No craziness happening that we should not know about before Community Day. So, and then the event starts. I put all my lucky eggs, all my star pieces, all my incest. But then I noticed that a lot of people were not actually putting lures down. So I was like, is this my opportunity? Because usually, I mean, aside from only being half-an-hour lords, during Community Days that we had 3-hour lords, I never had the chance to ever put one down because every time I put it down, it's completely like taken away. So I never really had the chance to until now. So I snipe almost close to like 10, 15 stops with lords by myself. And I was like...
in one of the best places, too.
True. So you guys know that we do have a medal that we want to complete, but a lot of people can't just because they're not in dense populated areas. And this is the picnicker medal. Now, when I started the day, this medal was under the goal requirements. I think I was a silver because the silver only requires 25 Pokémon catch by other trainers. The gold one was 500, so I had even less than 500 spaces or catches for this. Now, if you don't know the Picnicker medal, the only way to actually advance this medal is to put a lure down and have other people catch Pokémon of that lure. What's the best time to put it down? Community Day, because everybody wants to catch a Pokemon. Especially one that literally everybody wants. So...
One thing to keep in mind, too, I've seen it posted on Twitter, if people go plus a Pokemon at the lure, it does not count. So it has to be one that they hand catch.
Well, I'm very sure that a lot of people...
And this was definitely a good day, yeah.
Yes. I'm sure that a lot of people would. And thank you for the information. I mean, I didn't know about that anything at all. But yeah, so the hand catching on the lures was insane. I got 3,129 Pokemons caught by other trainers in my lords. Under 500 to that, I literally platinumed this medal in one day. What do you mean you're welcome? I was the one who got this.
I'm the one catching.
You won phone. You're not catching 3,000 Pokemons in one day.
No. 500. 500.
Okay, I'll give you that because I caught over 1,000, so or by 1,000 and instantly then. But yeah, so that's that medal was actually pretty good to have. I didn't think I was gonna get it, but then when I saw literally the numbers go up by 100 almost by the minute, I was like, hey, this is a done deal. I'll just finish it out before the 6 hours, and it was done. I got it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to buy any more lords. I don't have to worry about anything else to that. Thank God too. But yeah, so Community Day started. I did all of that. I got my first shiny out of the special research one, and then the shinies right after that. Shiny wise, let's see here. Shiny NH0. I have a total of 43 shiny Gibbles caught. Whew! One of the best Community Days that I had in a long time. Probably one of my best Community Days. Usually I don't go over past 20, 25, maybe 30 at best if it's a Pokemon that I want. But this one was a Pokemon that I wanted. And this is like compensation from all the raids that I did, back in 2019 with the GoFest and everything. But yeah, it was pretty nice. I also increased my experience cap from 700 million to 2.4 million, so I gained 1.7 million experience just by doing catches. And I was quit catching, and doing everything that I can to literally It didn't matter what I was doing. I was just catching and catching and catching and catching. I was just not nonstop throughout the entire day. 6 hours. I did stop maybe one or twice just to get a couple other things. And those were, of course, the hundos that were reported throughout the plays. I got 4 hundos. The first one was a little farther away, which kind of helped me because I wanted to put some lures down. Came back. 2 other ones spawned. I was actually pretty happy about that, but they were like in the opposite parts of the city, so I had to drive to all of them. And then the last one, dude, the last hundo that I got was the randomest hundo I could possibly got. Me and Chris, we were almost in the same place at the time. I think it was a lure spawn because I click on it. I see the CP and it's like 922, and I'm like, this is quite high. I'm just kind of golden raspberry and Pokeball it, and it jumps out, and I was like, don't run away from me. So I was like, golden raspberry ultra ball this time because I at least got an ultra ball there. I ran out of everything else. And I grabbed it. I was like, okay, let me check the CP. The bars go up, and I'm like, holy Jesus! I almost screamed, it's a hundo. Everybody who was around me was trying to look for it, but it looks like it was like last minute hundo spawn in that area from the lore. That it just unfortunately disappeared right after that. And Papercut, how you doing? We also were hanging out with Papercut today. Pretty cool guy. Pretty cool, awesome. But yeah, 4 hundos out of having no hundos from this. I did get enough extra large candy to power up a hundo, so I do have a hundo Garchomp level 50. I will max it out with Best Buddy eventually. It's not Shando, unfortunately. I was hoping for that. Earth Power, everything that I needed. It's actually my top number 1 Pokemon right now, just because I don't have extra large candies for the legendaries. But
let's wait for the Mega too.
I know, dude. When that happens, I'm just gonna be like, So I only like powering up hundos, and right now my top ones were actually kind of cluttered with some 93s, 98s, and things like that because I wanted to get like powerful Pokemons for race and things like that. But I'm kind of happy to start to see my pseudo-legendary hundos on the top line of my screen once again. It's even beating my Mewtwo, which unfortunately I don't have enough Mewtwo candy to power up to 50, but still pretty nice to have, pretty nice to see. It beats my Dragonite, surprisingly, but still. Powerful Pokemons indeed. Powerful Pokemons indeed. And then, of course, I got over 900, Gibbles and all of that. So, in all, just an insane community day. Easily my top number 1 event of all time, of all community days that we had in the past. Surpassing Dratini or
Talonflame
or Larvitar or anything like that. The pseudo legendaries are good to know. I know, trust me.
I was more excited for Larvitar, I'll be honest.
Nah, I like it a little bit more, just for the reason that it's just
It's cool. I just knew Larvitar would be the best rock attacker for like a very long time.
True.
So I was like,
I mean, Larvitar and Tyranitar will have his day to shine once again soon, once I get enough large candies to go about it, but I'm sure that he'll be back eventually for that. Gable Community Day was nice. It was nice. It was amazing, actually. And Chris and I, like I said, we play all day. Probably the entire day. No.
Asked it off. Good to go.
Yeah, I know, right? That was just insane. So it kind of lined up pretty good when it comes down to it. In overall, 10 out of 10, Chris, Community Day, or were you actually hoping for something else to happen?
Oh, no, for sure, 10 out of 10. Yeah. The spawns were freaking amazing. I couldn't complain.
Yeah.
Couldn't complain about anything, honestly.
I was not, there was nothing that made me happy to just see Gibbles in my screen all the time, every minute, every second. But yeah, it was a very awesome community. So yeah, so those were our recaps when it comes to shinies and hundos. And here's the thing: I still have almost close to enough extra large candies to max out another one if I wanted to, because I still have to trade and transfer a lot of the Gibbles that I have.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting at 250 right now. So hopefully, after some more trades and transfers, I can get up to 1.
Well, how many?
I just want to do the Mega.
Yeah,
the Hundo.
Yeah. Oh, I actually didn't mention. I did get some also PvP relevant Pokemon. So I know Chris mentioned that. But I did get 2 rank 1 Ultra League Garchomps. One of them was another instant spawn, and I was like, what? What is this? So it's ready for Ultra League. I'm kind of happy to see Ultra League come back pretty soon, actually. And I actually got a rank 1 Gabite. So I was like interesting about that because I never thought about it. All right, where is the evolution?
I haven't even looked at Gabite.
Gabite? Or Gibete? I don't know how to Gabite. Oh, there it is. Aside from the Hundo, yes, it is hiding. But I was able to also grab a rank 1 Gabite ready to go for a Great League, actually. That will be interesting if we actually see some meta out of it, you know?
I did forget about one. I was able to snag a Nundo.
Ooh, nice, yeah. Actually,
that was funny.
I actually don't think that I even checked my 0%. I know I transferred a couple of them, but let me see if there's any...
It's not a big deal if you delete them.
Yeah, definitely.
In all honesty.
I'm going to go through a quick search here on the Gibble side here. Doesn't look like I probably got the Nando. Shiny West, I didn't get it either. I can tell you that much. If not, it would have already been,
it was a low CPU. It was like 44.
Yeah. Well, we'll check eventually. I had some weird ones. I had like a 015 0 and all those. Those are weird ones too.
Dude, I've seen it.
I got reverse PvPs
it's like I got on somebody's bad side.
I know, right? Yeah.
So I was able to find a Spinda quest at a gas station after the calm day, and I was gonna let you guys see if it was shiny or not tonight.
And is it?
If that's cool. I don't know.
Did you finish it?
We'll see.
Nice.
We'll see. Yeah.
Let's see.
Sometimes I get that good.
No. The closest one I got is a 012, I believe. So I don't think I got the Nando.
To a Nando?
Yeah, to the Nando.
I got like a 002 shiny, and I was like, excuse me?
That's a
transfer? Hello?
I know, right? It's like, just transfer it to Go or to Home, and then we'll do some giveaways. Exactly. How about that? I'm sure nobody probably wants Gibble at this point, but still. It's like, hey, you guys missed Community Day, you want some Gibbles? Let's go ahead and do some giveaways here. That'll be nice. But yeah, still, just can't complain. I am tired. I am tired as heck, man. Just insane. It's one of those days where you truly remember that you will truly remember because of how insane it was, but at the same time, I want to say this was one of the most, if not close to perfect community days that we could have asked for the community to return. And I'm not just saying that for ourselves, I'm telling that for everybody in the community. I've seen so many posts from everybody. Hypnotic Melodic, Mr. 7, Trainer Tips is doing his DJ set, and other streamers are doing too, but Soy 2 Dots, Fleece King, everybody, almost a lot of people in the content creators, the Pokemon Go content creators in the United States, everybody was out and about. They were not sitting at home, they were not doing it at home, nothing like that. They were actually out and about playing the game because this was the community day to really, really grind. And one of the best Pokemon to, of course, get it. But it's so nice to see the community once again, see out there, seeing people you haven't seen in a long time because of the pandemic. Just truly an amazing experience, and I'm glad we finally got to this point after such a long, heartful, interesting year that we had last year for sure. So, so I'm glad. I am really, really glad that all of this is finally starting to come together, where we're going to be able to finally come out as a good community that everybody's going to once again enjoy the game as it's intended to be. All right, Chris, I think all together. Let's go ahead and start our research topics. We got some news to talk about, some things that actually happened literally at the end of the last podcast because Niantic likes to mess with me. And some things that, of course, that we're going to be talking about just as we go along. So, Chris, what is the very first thing that we are going to speak to today?
Ooh, if you guys don't know, we were in the Season of Legends, and last stream, we talked about how it was going to be ending very, very soon. Turns out it was announced right after the last podcast what the next one would be, and it is the season of Discovery starting, and it has already started.
Yes, so as the summer starts to bloom in, I guess, into our lives, June, July, and August, 3 more months of new seasons, new discoveries. Just like they mentioned, the season discovery is the very next season that we're going to have here in Pokemon Go. While it started, we had some interesting spawns, but let's talk about what we are going to encounter in this season, specifically stating what Pokemon we're going to see from here on out, without either events or the things like the vanilla spawns that we're going to be facing from here on out. And just a reminder, we have actually had a week to experience these spawns, so we had some, very good ideas of what could happen, plus some other stuff that we're going to be definitely discussing. So, during the Season of Legends, we encountered so many new Pokemon like the Terran forms of the Genies. We have the debut of Xerneas and Yveltal, which was actually pretty cool to have, say, brand new legendaries in the raids. And of course, we have Pokemon Go Fest coming up within a month, and the 5th year anniversary, of course. So, while doing that, there's actually going to be brand new Pokemon to encounter in this season. They will mention, of course, which Pokemon there will be. Not now, but in the future, of the next few months for sure. And then, of course, we're going to definitely know what to discover this season. So it's going to start on June 1st, which it already did 6 days ago. And it's going to end on Wednesday, September 1st at 10 a.m. local time. So some of the Pokemon that are going to be picking this Pokemon Go debut in Legendary Raids and Mega Raids, these are the ones. So the Season of Discovery will have a colossal kickoff with Regirock, Regice, and Registeel returning in 5-star race, which they did mention in the blog post last time. They will also be appearing from June 1st all the way to June 17, and after that, a surprise Pokemon will be appearing in 5-star race, and of course, keep an eye on that for more details. We'll definitely probably hear it at the end of this week, just because it's getting closer to that. I'm not sure what it would be, but I don't know, the word colossal just makes it sound more and more interesting in that regard.
I feel like there's gotta, and everyone keeps saying the Galarian forms, we're both not feeling it. I really agree with what you're thinking. Especially since it only says that there's going to be one after that. Yeah. Man, it's really hard.
Well, if you guys don't know, this is the word colossal is only discovered through one Pokemon in the entire Pokédex, and that's Regigigas. The reason I didn't think that's the reason why they actually wanted us to rate the Regis one more time for our next 2 weeks, just because, one, I mean, there's a shiny that we haven't seen in a while. Two, there are 3 legendary Pokemon that other people will definitely want to get. I was listening to another podcast actually, and I mean, Registeel is still a pretty valuable Pokemon in Great League. You can get it under the CP limit if you're lucky. And then Regirock, I hear sometimes it can appear in like Master League, things like that, extra large. So that's interesting to see too.
He's also good in Great League.
Yeah.
I don't know how easily you can get him under 1,500 though.
You cannot, unfortunately. Not through the race system.
Yeah,
you can
it's only like from the quest, yeah.
Yeah, it's either the level 15 available one. So not as much to Great League, but Ultra and Master is something that Regirock has sneaked by through the ranks and still is somewhere there. Surprisingly enough, but we'll see how other things will go. And then again, it's just the word colossal just means that Regigigas may actually appear. That is my guess. Regigigas, as you guys know, hasn't actually been in raids or any type of raids since the final EX raid we had back in 2019, before the pandemic started, before anything else started. And this is something that we feel like we need, because the last time was also either we only had like maybe 1 or 2 EX raids happening before the Colossal Discovery event. It was a ticketed event, so you did get one Regigigas, of course. But still something interesting, to say the least, if we are going to see maybe the Shiny to be released.
I think we had some Genesect afterwards too, but they only released one Genesect.
Yeah, but that's what's because at that point EX Raid became fully obsolete thanks to the ability to remote raid and things like that. So we don't know if they're gonna come back. I don't think that feature may come back. just because the ability to get mythical Pokemon through that was pretty cool. And it was fun, getting through the community to say, let's activate this gym so it actually gives us a specific Pokemon to raid for. But that doesn't change the fact that we still have remote raiding. So it kind of breaks the cycle of it unless you really plan it out with other people. So it's interesting to say the least. And I don't know if you can actually really use your EX pass as a remote raid pass for the specific EX raid. I feel like they have to do a lot of coding for that one to happen,
Yeah, the only thing I can think is you'd be able to invite maybe one person, and then maybe they can use a remote pass on it only after you invite that one person, but obviously we know nothing about that yet.
Yeah, so
even if they bring it back.
You never know. Well, after that, we had Genesect and Darkrai and Mewtwo. Oh, excuse me. Mewtwo, Darkrai, Genesect, and back in regular raids since all of this started. So it's not impossible to see it, but it's going to be interesting if they do release it afterwards. Although they could also go the lone route and wait until 2 years from now when we have the other Regis and then release Regigigas Shiny. It's not that we need Regigigas Shiny anyway, so it's not like really sought off Pokemon anyways.
No, it's a one and done kind of shiny for me. Once I get the shiny,
right? Yeah, so
I don't care about the hunt. No.
Yeah, so it is kind of one of those things when it comes down to it. I feel like if they go more lore-wise, if they know that there's going to be 2 more Regis to discover in Sword and Shield, that's 2 years from now before we actually see them in Pokemon Go. And once we get those and their shiny forms, maybe we'll have the ability to see shiny Regigigas, because that's technically how the lore works. I mean, Regigigas technically was more discoverable because it is a part of Gen 4 Pokedex or Gen 3 Pokedex, I believe. I can't remember. Let me see the Pokedex here real quick.
For
Regigigas.
For Gigas, that's Gen 4.
Gen 4, right? Yeah, so it is one of the kind of things. I did only have 5 of them. One of them through the special quest anyway, so it's maybe something we need, but I don't know. It just really depends, because they could also just buff a lot of his moves and be like a powerful normal type attacker or something,
Give him counter.
I know, right? But yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's all speculation at this point. Let's go ahead and continue on and speaking about the season of discovery when it comes down to it. So it also says here, unexpected guests will be making its appearance in Star Race, including exciting encounters when during Pokemon Go Fest 2021. Look out for more raid updates in the monthly event blog. So we got a couple more weeks. We definitely have at least a good month before Go Fest. So there's a lot to go about. They haven't even released the raid bosses for Go Fest yet, for Day 2 specifically. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things that they're going to mention within the next few weeks coming up for sure. Then, of course,
look out.
Definitely. There's also, this season, Mega Race will only feature 1 Mega Evolved Pokemon at a time. Stay tuned for further details for each month, and then, of course, once more in June to come. We did mention this in the last podcast, and it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if we actually I don't remember if we actually really talked about it, but are you happy to see only 1 Mega Raid throughout the month?
I'm definitely all for it. I mean, I know a lot of people probably aren't, because what if we get stuck with a bad one?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I hate being at a stop waiting for an egg to hatch when there's 3 different possible things, and it always seems to be the one thing you don't want to raid every single time.
That's true.
We've seen it with 5 stars before. We've seen it with megas now. I don't think it should be that common. It's definitely something going on right now with the Regis. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely all for it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it is something to think about when it comes down to it. I know a lot of people are still questioning why the reason of doing this, but they have their reasons. And just like another podcast I listened to, the only reason why this is a bad idea is because we do have a possible of 40 plus Mega Pokemons in the pool. Released and unreleased. So thinking it in a way that it's beneficial. It could take us up to 2 years to finish the entire mega pool if it goes that route, So there's definitely keeping up the track on megas. We just don't see that very much potential in it just yet, because there really is no reason to have a Mega Pokemon Evolve Pokemon unless you're actually catching it for, like, Cable Community Day. If you evolve a Pokemon, you get the extra candy. It shares its types, of course, but aside from that, it's only really good in raids, and because you want to take out the Pokemon as fast as you can, and sometimes having that Pokemon specifically to counter it is good enough. They're powerful, yes, but they don't seem to have more ability after that. We would love to see it in GBL, but I feel like it requires a bigger nerf than what they already have.
I think they'd have to make another league on its own, kind of like how they have Classic and Open Masters. There'd need to be like Uber's Masters or something just for Megas.
That could possibly be something. I mean, not all Megas are possible in tier itself, but there are some Pokemons, or at least some Mega Evolve Pokemons, that go over the CP limit, and most legendaries and things like that happen. So we've seen so many crazy things. I'd love to see it. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just the same as going about trainer battles. We didn't really have a competitive trainer battles or esports like trainer battles until GBL came out, and before that it was all about sealed arena, because the community helped us open that up to a lot of people. But after that, I mean, we didn't. After GBL came out, the community was a bit divided between Stealth Arena and GBL, but still open up the path to to really see the potential of people, how to be the very best in that sense.
I do think they've grown both communities a lot. I do think as soon as COVID hit, it kind of wheedled down a little bit. I am liking that they didn't bring back the walking requirement for GBL. I'm so glad, so glad, because that's keeping GBL relevant, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. They've seen the change in that. And again, back to the topic to Megas, it does seem that Megas should be a part of GBL or competitive play once they figure out how to not break the meta. So
yeah. I mean, a lot of people talk about Mega Charizard Y with Dragon Breath just wins like 99% of the matches.
Yeah, so
they got to do something.
Definitely. And guys, if I'm yawning too much, trust me, I am really tired. I am still trying to get the news out there for you guys, because today was just already an insane day. So it was one to remember. But yeah, so now we're going also in the Season of Discovery, back to the topic, of course. We're going to see different Pokemon appearing in the wild. Some things change specifically, and we'll see things like different Pokemon appearing in different areas across the world. Cities, Pokemon such as Alolan, Rattata, Magnemite, and Porygon will appear more frequently in the wild, while in the far-off forests, Bellsprout, Doduo, Skorupi, and more will appear frequently in the wild. The mountains will see a shift in Pokemon as well, as Rhyhorn, Nosepass, and Dwebble will appear more frequently in the wild. And then while in the water biomes, or closer to water bodies, Magikarp, Meryl, and Welmer will be appearing more frequently in the wild. So definitely interesting to see that in different geometric parts of the world, we will see different types of Pokemons. I know I've seen a lot of different Pokemons when we're like closer to the downtown city. I've seen all the Pokemons they mentioned here, plus more. I know there's more Pokemons that definitely appear more in rural areas because of it. And it's interesting to see. I mean, it is kind of fun to go about places that you've never gone about, and then all of a sudden you find a Pokemon that you truly could actually hunt for if you're actually there long enough. So you never know until we see it.
You can definitely tell. Whenever you get into a new biome, you can tell right away.
Yeah, no, the difference
is like 5 different Pokemon you never see.
Mm-hmm. And it's fun. It's fun because that type of discovery means that they're letting us go out more to discover these types of changes to both the Pokemon and the geometric biome of the Pokemon itself. So that being said, those are the most common spawns we'll see throughout the season, but yet there are exclusive Pokemons that will be during part of the Hemisphere exclusive. So during the season, in the northern hemisphere, Pokemon like Alolan, Diglett, Staryu, Barboach, Petilil, I can't even say the name of that Pokemon for some reason, will appear more frequently in the wild. The first Poké Pokemon origin is covered in Hoenn, like Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip will also be appearing in the wild. And then, of course, Summer Form Deerling, which surprisingly enough is harder to find than you think.
I've only seen one, and I wasn't able to catch it because of despawn.
Same. But that's also because our weather has not been the greatest when it comes to that type of form, anyways. We may even be lucky enough to see Sableye, Scyther, and Combee in the wild. I have seen a lot of Scythers. I haven't seen Sableye in quite a bit though, but that's because we're never really in the time where Sableye will usually spawn anyway. So
yeah, no.
There's also Pokemon in the southern hemispheres. Pokemon such as Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Vulpix, Shelder, and more will appear more frequently in the wild. The Pokemon from the starter in the Sinnoh region, like Tortic, Stringchar, and Piplup, will be more frequently in the wild. And then, of course, winter form Deerling will be smoking in the debut to the southern hemisphere. While the lucky things that you can find, Lickitung, Chimecho, and Chuboko in the wild. Unfortunately, that is only in the southern hemisphere, Chris, so they are getting the lucky part of things right now. So.
I need to move.
I knew that Lickitung was actually going to be something that you were going to be sad about.
Yeah, you've seen me walking it for how long?
Probably enough, but still not enough. So
no.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I really like this type of change because it doesn't mean that everything will be exclusive to everybody, but will be exclusive to the times of changing. Lickitung, Chimecho, and Chuboko are Pokemons that are still pretty cool, especially now that GoFest has announced its shiny Chimecho. Lickitung still a PvP Pokemon, and Chuboko is a shiny that we only seen during the winter time for us.
King.
True. So, although I'm still happy about Sableye and Scyther, I do want a Hondo Scyther at one point and enough for extra large candies for Sableye. It is kind of nice to see the diversity in different spawns or biomes or even hemispheres for that reason. So, in all, I think that they're actually nailing the whole season events because so far it's still pretty good to see the type of changes that they do,
Love the variety.
Yeah. So, we'll also have a egg update at the start of the event, of course, or the start of the season. So, some different Pokemon will be hatching from eggs, and I know a lot of people are not really about eggs, but they will definitely be something to be for everybody. So, 2K eggs, we have Meditite, Bissell, Spritzy, Swirlix, and more. Actually, if I go to my eggs right now, we can see the tiers of how those Pokemon are. Now, we've seen Spritzy and Swirlix a bunch of times thanks to the last few events on the Season of Legends, or the Luminous events that we had for the Fairy types. That the Pokemon that we see, Slowpoke, Magikarp, Meditite, Wailmer, a lot of Pokemon that are really viable and still, a pretty nice pool to catch. I know a lot of people still want to get extra large candies for Fletchling. A lot of different people for Bunnelby. And then, other things like Tympole will be shiny pretty soon. So that's pretty nice to actually start hatching if you have enough Pokemon for it. But yeah, no, it's kind of nice to see on this kind of things. I do have a 5K, which we'll actually be talking about. 5Ks, we have Pokemon like Togepi, Gligar, Skarmory, and Bouncely, and more. So, tier-wise, the Pokemons are pretty good. We do have Togepi, and why not at a tier 1 egg hatch, so it will be more common to see. Eevee, Bouncely, and the Kalos starters will be in the tier 2. Pretty rare, but still uncommon when it comes down to it. And the rarest one will, of course, be Gligar, Skarmory, and Bronzong, which I'm kind of happy that that's
not a lot.
Not a lot. It's actually a pretty small pool if you think about it. So it's actually a pretty nice, diverse things to really target. Once the event started, I actually incubated a 5K egg, and I got a shiny Bouncely out of it. Actually, I didn't even know. Didn't even say that was actually something of my recast because I was so hyped about Gibble Community Day, so I completely forgot about that too.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it. You completely skipped over it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Gibble.
That's all we need to talk about. But yeah, definitely some things in that regard. We do have the 10K eggs, which in 10K eggs we have things like Timber, Rufflet, Gumi, Noibat, and more. Now, the 10K pool is interesting, to say the least, but we do have things like Nincada, Timber, and Klinks in the tier 1. Tier 2, we have Gibble, which at this point, who really needs a Gibble?
It's Shundo.
I know, right? Elmolga, Rufflet, and Esper. We do have tier 3, Riolu, Gumi, and Noibat, which kind of happy to see Noibat kind of closer to those tiers. And then on tier 4, we have Axew. it's still a really strong pool. We kind of hate to see things like Nincada happen in 10K, so I hope you actually change your mind pretty soon, Niantic, because we don't actually want to see those kind of Pokemons in our eggs. Until they, some of them are shiny, some of them are not. So I think there's only like 2 Pokemons, no, actually like 4 Pokemons in this pool, 5 Pokemons in this pool that are not shiny edible. Some of them are the pseudo legendaries.
About Esper.
Yeah, Esper is actually kind of like, We'll see when it comes down to it. And then we have the strange eggs, 12 kilometer eggs. We have things like, actually,
they finally took out Corphish.
They did, and the pool is actually pretty interesting. It's actually a better tier when it comes down to it. So the strange egg has like tier 1s, Absol, Panyar, Larvitar, Scrafty, and Bullaby in the tier 1. And then tier 3, not even tier 2, there's not even higher tier than that, so they're more rare than anything. Sandile, Dino, I don't know why that Pokemon is a tier 3. Quillfish, right? Quillfish, Scorpion, and then the newly released Pancham. Yeah, the panda basically, but still. Interesting enough to say that the eggs in strange eggs are actually a little bit better. Still kind of sad to see more of the tier 1 more than the tier 3 anyways, but still.
It's so sad that it goes from 1 to 3, yeah.
Yeah. There actually is also some changes to the Adventure Sync rewards. The eggs actually also change when you actually achieve the specific numbers of tier. So at level 25 or at 25 kilometers, you'll earn the 5K egg, and at 50 kilometers, you'll take the 10K. So 5K egg, Adventure Sync will have things like Cranidos, Sheldon, Skirl, Clauncher, and more, which unfortunately I have not had the chance to get an egg from this just yet because it is still the first week. And then if you get the 10K egg, you get things like Bagon, Beldum, Gibble, Riolu, and more. So we do have a nice diversity. I do believe that the tiers in the Adventure eggs are actually tier 1 no matter what. So they're actually way rarer than any other 10K egg that you see in the wild, just because they have a higher chance of possibility of hatching the Pokemon you desire the most out of those eggs, instead of a regular 10K egg in that regard.
Okay.
So keep a lookout. If you do want to meet up your 10K egg requirements, you better start walking to get 50Ks most of the time, because that's actually pretty cool, in to say the least. We also have, of course, different field research stats found in Pokestops. We already have most of what we know of the types of research that we're going to encounter. A lot of them are pretty cool. Some of them are like usually starters. Other ones are things like Mega Candy for Pokemons. And all in all, they're doing pretty good in the research category, at least. And then, of course, we do have other things like the Breakthrough Box. It is going to give you twice the experience from the Research Breakthrough, and, of course, the Remote Raid Pass from the Research Breakthrough. So, yeah, season of discovery. A lot of different changes, a lot of different things. I do believe that it's probably one of the best we've seen in a while, but it is nice to see the types of changes. Now, in my experience, I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen the Sceptile, I've seen the Swampers, I've seen people patch the Blazikens, I've seen Snorlax still spawning every now and then. Machamps are spawning also. So there's a lot of different Pokemon out there. They are like pretty fun to encounter when you see them, and once they do, and it's fun to catch them, especially because starters like the Hoenn starters and the evolutions could be shiny eventually once they release their Mega forms.
Yeah, Shiftry, Victory Bell, Vileplume. It's been some crazy grass Pokemon for me personally.
Yeah, so, and that's not to say the list. There are some Pokemons that we've seen from the releases of Gen 6 still spawning in the wild for those reasons. I know for a fact probably Gumi has been the one that's disappeared the most since then, so kind of sad.
I miss Gumi.
Yeah. So that is the Season of Discovery. But yeah, that's it. Now, the next event that we're going to be talking about is something that we did mention about in the last blog post, but we're going to be talking about it because we have all the details about it. And this is what, Chris?
Very slow event.
Pick it up, Chris. We got time. We got less time. But yeah, so as mentioned by Niantic before, mention. Anyways, the season of discovery begins with a very, very, very slow start, very slow event. So the amazing things about this is, of course, the release of Galarian Slowpoke and its evolution forms, because all of its evolution forms will be making a grand return in this grand return and grand debut during this event for sure. So it will give us things like Galarian Slowpoke, Mega Slowbro, and Galarian Slowbro, all in its full glory abilities. So starting on Tuesday, June 8th, which is 2 days from this podcast, at 10 a.m. to Sunday, June 13 at 8 p.m. local time. Do note that this is actually a week after the season of Discovery has started, so it's giving us a nice time to catch up on the new discoveries of things in Pokemon that the season has started for. So I'm actually happy that they gave us at least a little bit of breathing room before the next event started anyways. So the features that we're going to have is, of course, Galarian Slowpoke is making its Pokemon Go debut. You can evolve it into Galarian Slowbro by catching 30 Poison-type Pokemons when it is your buddy. We heard reports that Galarian Slowking is taking its time to make his Pokemon Go appearance. You could even say his arrival is quite slow. I don't know, but
that's a knee slap.
That's an interesting one for sure. Mega Slowbro, of course, will be making its Pokemon Go debut, just like you mentioned before. Keep an eye on its event-exclusive field research task that will reward Slowbro Mega Energy. So there is a possibility that you can actually get the energy before you even have to raid one of them. So it's actually pretty nice.
Free? Okay.
Nice. Slowpoke, Slackoff, Gulping, Spoink, and more will appear more often in the wild. If you're lucky, you might even encounter a Slowbro or Vigoroth. Now, of course, these Pokemon have been seen in the wild before, but it's nothing surprising. Vigoroth being a very powerful Great League Pokemon, so that's something that you may want to get if you are able to.
Slowbro should have the shiny chance with the Mega out.
Yes, so that will be interesting too. Galarian Slowpoke, Alolan Grimer, Shellder, Shinx, and Timber will appear in 1-star arrays. Snorlax, Slowking, Slacking, and Torchic will be appearing in 3-star arrays. So we do have a bit of a list. I'm sure people will actually go for the Galarian Slowpoke. I'm sure that the shiny will not be released just yet. But
I agree.
Snorlax being in tier 3, it's probably the one that people are going to be like money for sure. Take my money.
Oh my gosh.
Collect event-exclusive field research tasks that challenge you to complete difficult tasks for some very slow rewards. I have no idea what they meant by this.
Not something you want to hear from Niantic.
That doesn't sound good, but it's going to be interesting when we do see it in its shape, weight, or form. So, complete the Slowpoke Team Collection Challenge during the event to get exclusive Slowpoke Forever Shirt Teacher. Slowpoke Forever Shirt Teacher. Can't believe I actually said that word. Avatar item, 30 Ultra Balls, and 3,000 experience. So a little bit of a reward when it comes down to it. 30 Ultra Balls is nothing to scoff at, but I don't know if I want the shirt anyways.
So fun!
Oh, jeez. Pick up other Slowpoke inspired avatars in the shop. Spin Pokestops and open gifts to collect new Slowpoke team gift stickers to send to your friends. And be sure to pick up an event exclusive free box in the shop that will contain 20 Pokeballs, 10 Greyballs, and a King's Rock. So, not a bad thing when it comes down to it. And then, of course, a nice minute walk where you really take your surroundings can take a nice contrast to the hustle and bundle of a daily life. Be sure to share your slow but active adventures with us at the hashtag Pokemon Go. Let's go! What do you think of this event, Chris? Like, what is it that really is hyped about aside from a few things that we already mentioned?
I mean, I know Galarian Slowbro is really good in the main games. I'm very curious about it PvP-wise. I haven't really looked at it, but I mean, we've seen the buff to poison types recently with the release of Season 8 Great League.
That's true.
I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah,
personally.
I kind of want to see something similar to that. They did say this mostly in raids. I don't know how they're going to really be in the wild. I never think about a Galarian Pokemon being in the wild that easily, but I don't know. We'll see when the event starts in a few days. We'll see how that goes. I do think that your analysis on poison-type Pokemons are actually pretty cool. It could be a very, very strong poison-type attacker, plus being poison water, I believe, I think it's called. Or I think it's pure poison. I can't remember.
It might be poison psychic. I don't know.
I thought it was psychic poison when it's king. So I don't know.
You might be right. Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, with the buffs that we've seen in GBL, and we'll definitely be discussing about that. It's something that we'll definitely keep on lookout if it's going to change the meta once again for a very slow discovery. So, but yeah, that is the event. Interesting one to say the least. Maybe something that we needed if we want to really slow down on the grind. Unless they really release a shiny that we did not expect, and then all of a sudden everybody goes bananas. So, but yeah, that is the very slow discovery in Pokemon Go, and more to come, of course, and as the weeks come along. Because who says to that we don't like Pokemon Go? We love Pokemon Go. We'll continue going.
Poison and Psychic, yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. But anyways. That is actually most of the news that we have here for today. Because yes,
I did want to tie in. Pure Lighter said while we were out doing Gibblecom Day, he said this slow event is dangerously close to when we'll be getting the secret raid boss after the Reggies, who is another Pokemon with slow start. A little Gigas action. Hello.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It is something that we did mention during Gable Community today, because it's just so much coincidental that we're starting up with the Reggies. We're gonna continue on with a very slow event. What's slower than Regigigas at this point? Oh my god! So it's gonna be interesting when they do release it. This event does end before that, but at that point, maybe next week we'll actually be hearing something about it, since we're about closer to June 17 in that regard. But anywho, let's talk some PvP, Chris. Get good, get red. Here we go.
All right.
So the very first thing that we're going to talk about, of course, Season 8 GVL. It just started as the beginning of this week. So what can we expect? What did we see? This is the time where we saw a huge meta shift change since the poison types were out there. So Chris, what can you tell me?
All I gotta say is thank you, Panic, for making Shadow Nidoqueen one of the most common leads. My buddy Wishcash was having a very fun time with them. Yeah, the shift to like a ton of poison types. You'd see a bunch of Hypno leads because of it. See a bunch of Altaria and everything to try and counter the poison. Is very interesting. Because you never thought that poison would be that relevant, but even against a Skarmory, a Nidoqueen can put in some good work with those defense drops with was it Poison Fang? Yes.
Yeah,
Poison Fang.
Yeah. I have seen the resurgence of poison types thanks to this. The meta started up a lot toxic.
Very volatile, yeah.
Yeah, so surprisingly enough, we did say that some Pokemon are actually very viable now that their moves have changed, plus the changes in poison types. And there have been some interesting things, to say the least. And yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. Now, I haven't done a ton, but I've done enough to be able to get the one Pokemon that we were looking for, which is Menfu in levels rank 5. However, the first ever Go Battle Night was actually this last Thursday, so a lot of people were actually doing that and definitely hit their ELO really quickly in the meta. So,
oh yeah.
I want to say that was very, very powerful. Did you participate on that, Chris?
Somewhat. I don't think I did all 100. I think I did maybe 75 or so. Because that was one of the nights I had to work overnight. But I did try to get in as many as I could, especially for that triple dust. Definitely looking forward to the next ones. I just hope they take some of the player recommendations of making it a Go Battle day instead of a Go Battle night for a lot of people.
That's true, because sometimes we don't actually get the chance to be able to really sit down and play the night, especially at the time it's supposed to start.
Hard. Yeah, it's very hard to fit all the battles in there.
Yeah, so I do agree to that. There is something, though, that I did wanted to mention, and it's actually been going around the entire Twitter in the last few days. And this is a shout out to, of course, Ionic, because he actually discovered this. And let me actually go to his tweet here, if we actually do remember to say this. Let me see here real quick. So, let's check it out while we go about this. So,
are you trying to duo a Regirock?
I believe so. I don't know. I don't think it's really working, because I think that I got invited to it, and I think the other two people that were actually supposed to be there left at the time of. So unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen unless he re-invites me again. So oh well. But this is actually the tweet, if I actually have the right place to pour about it. Give me 1 second here, guys. Woo. Okay.
The Matrix.
The Matrix. Anyways, so Season 8. It's Ionic tweeted out. So Stardust rewards cut by 50%. 4 weeks of 2 times Stardust. 3 GBL nights of 3 times Stardust. You will average an 18% less Stardust than Season 7 that had 0 Stardust events. I'm speechless. So, to say the least, this Go Battle, this season of Go Battle League has actually had less Stardust than we were previously invested into, than you may at least expect it. And King actually retweeted this, and a lot of the PvP community actually retweeted this, and I wanted to at least put a light out there so Niantic can actually hear. I'm 1,000% upset with this decision. You don't make dust bonuses, GBN or Master League, just to take away dust from regular battling. That is not a bonus, and a Stardust economy is far from broken within the battling community. I sincerely hope that you revisit this, Niantic. So, to say the least, it is actually really bad to see that the requirements and the Stardust rewards are actually way less than we actually expected last season. So, I don't know. I really do think that Niantic really needs to work on this when it comes down to it. I know that the community is very livid right now for it. And if they don't do something soon, it may actually take up the entire season of GBL.
Yeah, normally I'd be, kind of poking the community saying, why are you guys asking for a lot? But they're legit taking away a lot of the Stardust and then saying that they have events for more Stardust. That is insane. I cannot believe that, actually.
It is actually very unbelievable because GBL is all about Stardust. It really requires you to power up Pokemon that you... First of all, sometimes we don't really need, unless it's really only about battling. Master League is almost impossible for a lot of the trainers just because the Stardust requirements to either from level 40 to level 50 are even insane as that.
Yeah.
And even
higher now, yeah.
And even Ultra League, having both legendaries and Pokemon that can power up to excel, has been a really, really bad experience for a lot of the community too. So to take away the one economy that we really need in the game at the most, I don't think Niantic is doing a good move at removing at least a good chunk of the rewards in that regard. So I do think that Niantic will need to revisit this very, very soon if they don't want GBL to be their dying esports at the end of the season.
Ghost Town.
Correct. So, with that being said, we did want to talk about, of course, regionals since they're about to regionals in Silt Arena, of course. But Chris hasn't had it, not yet, at least.
No.
But do you have?
It should be the 20th, I believe.
That's good. That's good. Do you have any updates on your last Fractions Silt Arena competition?
Yeah, I actually had it this morning. We had planned on doing it yesterday, but I just told him, let's make sure we get this in before Gibblecom Day, because I will not be good during or afterwards. His team was, in my opinion, it was very hard for him to find a team against mine, just the way it was set up. Don't get me wrong, if I chose the wrong team, he was going to have a huge upper hand. And that happened in the second match. He was able to lead his Umbreon into my Alolan Marowak, and oh my gosh, I could not come back from that. But I ended up going 2-1 in that match. Very GG to OG player 1 of Aquatail Hunger Force. We're currently, they have 9 and we have 6. It's going to be very, very close between the last few battlers, but we need to get at least a 3-0. I feel like to get it. Yeah, we need at least a 3-0 from one of our players. So get some prages in chat.
That is for sure. So aside from that, well, hopefully you do way better in the next few community days for sure. I'm sorry, in the next few fractions. The tweet came up and I literally read in community day for some reason.
Jeez. I was like, did I not do all right for community day? Hello?
I know, right? So
shots fired.
I know. You gotta love a light setting when it comes down to it, especially when you see the tweets from an Niantic post up about community day right there and then. Anyways, but yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's all we got for you guys today. We're very tired, so we're gonna actually almost end this at this point. Do you have anything else to add, Chris, that you might want to add?
Nah, I think we covered everything beautifully, my guy. Definitely.
So thank you so much for joining us for the podcast on the live stream. You can always find us live at 8 p.m. Eastern here at Pure Lighter, twitch.tv/PureLighter, of course. You can also always listen us in podcast services. I do want to say before we go, I do believe we hit the requirements for 3,000 downloads. Actually, no, we're actually 3 away. So we are actually 3 away downloads from 3,000. Again, an insane community. We actually do had our best month, May being our very, very best month of our entire podcast being live. Second to best to December.
Thanks to you guys.
Yes,
thank you guys.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate the support and everything. We have so much to that we want to continue on doing thanks to you guys. So I do hope that you continue supporting us in that kind of way. So again, you can always find us in different mini podcast services, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever else you feel like listening to us. Make sure that you check us out there. Download us if you can. If you can leave us a review, we would greatly appreciate it. It's always nice. You can always find us at our social media, Pure Lighter, myself, Pokemon Trigger, please, for Chris. And then, of course, don't forget that you can always email us at thepurifiedpodcast@gmail.com and check us out at thepurifiedpodcast.com, the Professor Network. Okay, I'm done. Here, Chris, take it for the night.
All right. Thank you guys very much for joining us today. I know a lot of us were tired after Gibblecom Day. Us too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you guys got good shinies. Hope you guys got your hundos. And look forward to that Mega getting released sooner or later. Yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Peace out. See you next week.
Keep purifying them. To see you guys next time.